Welcome to Tales by Felix, where every story unlocks a new world. Remember to subscribe, like and share. Let's begin. A sun-drenched vineyard, rows of lush green vines stretching toward the horizon. Golden light bathes the scene, and soft classical music plays as guests in elegant attire sip champagne under a canopy of fairy lights. It's the wedding of Sarah Thompson and Michael Reynolds, a day so perfect it feels scripted for a Hollywood romance. Sarah, radiant in a flowing ivory gown, her auburn hair cascading in loose waves, beams as she glides through the crowd. Michael, impossibly handsome in a tailored tuxedo, his dark eyes sparkling with charm, never leaves her side. The chemistry between them is electric. Sarah, her tone warm but tinged with a hindsight-fueled melancholy that immediately hooks the viewer. They say love is blind. I didn't know how true that was until it was too late. This was our day, the day everyone envied. But even in the glow of perfection, there were shadows I couldn't see. Flashbacks weave through their whirlwind romance. Their first meeting at a charity gala, where Michael, a self-made entrepreneur, swept Sarah off her feet with his wit and confidence, stolen moments in cozy coffee shops, and a surprise proposal under a starlit sky. The montage is interspersed with interviews from friends and family, gushing about the couple. Sarah's best friend, Lila, laughs into the camera. Michael was like a movie star. Charismatic, successful, and totally obsessed with Sarah. We all thought she'd hit the jackpot. At the reception, Michael delivers a toast that's equal parts heartfelt and polished. To Sarah, he says, raising a glass, his voice smooth as velvet. You've made me the luckiest man alive. I promise to give you the world. The crowd erupts in applause, but the camera lingers on Sarah's face, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. Or is it something else? As the night unfolds, subtle cracks appear. During a quiet moment, Michael steps away to take a phone call. The camera catches him in the background, his expression shifting from charming to guarded. Not now, he hisses into the phone, his voice barely audible. I told you, I'm handling it. Sarah, distracted by guests, doesn't notice, but the viewer does. Later, as they dance, Michael's grip on her waist tightens just a fraction too much when she playfully asks about his latest business trip. He laughs it off, but his eyes dart away. As Sarah and Michael share a private moment on a balcony overlooking the vineyard, a server approaches with a glass of champagne. Compliments of a friend, the server says, handing it to Michael. He hesitates, his smile faltering for a split second, before accepting it. Sarah, oblivious, leans into him, whispering, "This is perfect." Michael's face, his jaw tight, as he murmurs, "Yeah, perfect." Drone shots of a turquoise ocean lapping against a pristine beach in Santorini. Sarah and Michael, now newlyweds, lounge on a private yacht, clinking glasses of rose. Sarah's voiceover sets the tone. This was our paradise, our escape from the world. But even in paradise, you can't outrun the truth. The honeymoon is a whirlwind of luxury. Candlelit dinners, cliffside hikes, and lazy mornings tangled in silk sheets. Sarah narrates their bliss, but the visuals tell a dual story. Michael's phone buzzes incessantly, and he's quick to silence it, claiming it's just work. At one point, Sarah teases, "Can't your empire survive without you for a week?" Michael's laugh is forced. "You'd be surprised how demanding it is," he says, his tone light but his eyes distant. The tension escalates during a romantic dinner. As Sarah recounts a funny story from their wedding, Michael's attention drifts to his phone. A message notification pops up, and though the screen is angled away, Sarah catches a glimpse of the word urgent. Curious, she reaches for the phone playfully. "Who's texting you at this hour?" she asks, her tone teasing. Michael's reaction is swift. He snatches the phone away, his smile gone. "Just a client," he says sharply, then softens. "Sorry, babe. You know how it is. Business never sleeps." Sarah, taken aback, nods, but the moment lingers. Later, alone in their suite, she stares at the phone on the nightstand, tempted to check it but hesitating. Her voiceover confesses, "I told myself it was nothing. Just wedding stress, just work. But deep down I felt it, a shadow creeping in. Unsettling details." Michael's suitcase contains an unfamiliar leather notebook, which he quickly tucks away when Sarah notices it. His spending is extravagant, thousands on a private chef, a diamond bracelet for Sarah, Yet he's vague about his company's finances, dismissing her questions with, "Don't worry, we're set." The viewer senses the dissonance, amplified by Sarah's growing unease. Sarah wakes to find Michael gone from their bed. She spots him on the balcony, whispering into his phone. The camera catches fragments of his conversation. "It's under control." "No, she doesn't know. We stick to the plan." When he returns, Sarah pretends to be asleep, her heart pounding. As he slips back into bed, her wide-open eyes, filled with doubt. Back in their sleek, modern home in Los Angeles, Sarah and Michael settle into married life. The episode opens with Sarah narrating, "I wanted to believe in us, in the life we were building. But sometimes, the truth comes knocking, literally." Their new routine. Sarah, a graphic designer, works from home, while Michael's consulting job keeps him busy with late nights and sudden trips. The camera lingers on their pristine home, marble countertops, floor-to-ceiling windows, but there's an undercurrent of tension. Sarah's voiceover admits, everything looked perfect, but it felt off. The inciting incident arrives with a delivery truck pulling up to their driveway. A courier hands Sarah a plain, unmarked cardboard box addressed to Michael. Curious, she sets it on the kitchen counter and texts him, "Got a package for you." "What is it?" His reply is immediate, "Work stuff. Don't open it. I'll handle it when I'm home." The curtness raises her hackles, but she brushes it off. Later, alone, Sarah eyes the box. She hesitates, her fingers brushing the tape. She starts to peel it back when Michael bursts through the door, startling her. "What are you doing?" he snaps, his voice laced with an anger she's never heard. Sarah stammers, "I was just curious." "It's just a box, Michael." He softens, but his eyes are cold. "It's sensitive documents, Sarah. You know how my clients are about privacy." He takes the box and locks it in his office, leaving Sarah shaken. That night, over dinner, Sarah tries to lighten the mood. "So, what's in the mystery box?" "Secret plans for world domination," she teases. Michael chuckles, but it's hollow. "Just boring contracts. You wouldn't be interested." His deflection only deepens her unease. Climax comes when Sarah, unable to sleep, creeps into Michael's office. The camera follows her, the house dark and silent, amplifying the suspense. She notices his desk drawer is slightly ajar, revealing a hidden compartment. Her fingers tremble as she reaches for it, but the sound of Michael's car pulling into the driveway stops her cold. She retreats, heart racing, as her voiceover whispers, "I didn't know what I was looking for, but I knew I couldn't trust him anymore." Sarah in her home studio, trying to focus on a design project, but her mind is elsewhere. Her voiceover sets the stage. "Once you start noticing the cracks, you can't unsee them. They were everywhere, and I was starting to feel like a stranger in my own life." Michael's absences grow more frequent. He claims therefore client meetings in New York or London, but his stories are vague. Sarah notices new luxuries in their home, a vintage watch, a sleek sculpture, items that seem beyond their means. When she asks about them, Michael brushes it off. "A bonus came through," he says, flashing his trademark grin. But Sarah's not buying it. The tension escalates during a dinner party with friends. Lila, noticing Sarah's distraction, pulls her aside. "You okay, Sar? You seem off." Sarah hesitates, then confides, "Michael's been weird. Secretive. I don't know, maybe I'm paranoid." Lila frowns. "He's always been a bit too perfect, you know? Like he's hiding something." The conversation plants a seed, and Sarah's suspicion deepens. Later, Sarah overhears Michael on a late-night call in his office. The camera captures her eavesdropping, her face a mix of fear and determination. "No, it's not a problem," Michael says, his voice low. "The shipment's on schedule. Just keep her out of it." Sarah's breath catches. Who's her? Her mind races. Could it be her? Turning point comes when Sarah finds a small metallic tool in Michael's coat pocket while doing laundry. It's unlike anything she's seen, sleek, almost futuristic, not something a consultant would need. She confronts him casually. "What's this? Some kind of gadget for your deals?" Michael's face hardens for a split second before he laughs. "Just a prototype from a client. Tech stuff." But his eyes don't meet hers. lands as Sarah, alone, holds the tool, turning it over in her hands. Her voiceover is resolute. This wasn't about clients or bonuses. This was something bigger, something dangerous. And I was going to find out what. Sarah staring at Michael's locked office door, her resolve hardening. Her voiceover is determined. I couldn't ignore it anymore. If Michael wouldn't tell me the truth, I'd find it myself. Sarah begins her investigation subtly. She notices Michael left his laptop open on the kitchen counter one morning. Seizing the opportunity, she tries to access it, but it's password protected. She tries a few guesses, their anniversary, his birthday, but nothing works. Frustrated, she notices a sticky note with a cryptic code, X47-9L. She jots it down, her heart pounding. Later, while Michael's away on another trip, Sarah digs deeper. She checks their shared cloud storage, finding a hidden folder labeled Archives. Inside is a single encrypted file. She tries the code from the sticky note, and it works. The file contains a spreadsheet with dates, locations, and large sums of money, transactions that don't align with Michael's supposed consulting work. One entry catches her eye, a $500,000 transfer linked to a date when Michael was supposedly in Chicago. Sarah's investigation takes a risky turn when she uses Michael's old phone, forgotten in a drawer, to access his email. She finds a message from an unknown sender, confirmed delivery by November 15th. No mistakes. The date is 2 weeks away. Sarah's voiceover confesses, I felt like I was falling into a void. Who was my husband, really? Climax comes when Sarah cross-references the spreadsheet's dates with Michael's travel receipts. They match perfectly with news reports of high-profile thefts in those cities, art heists, jewelry scams. Her blood runs cold as the pieces fall into place. Hits as she stares at the screen, a news article loading with a blurry photo of a man who looks eerily like Michael at a crime scene. Her voiceover whispers, this couldn't be real. But it was. And I was married to him. Sarah sitting at her kitchen table, the cryptic spreadsheet from Michael's laptop still open on her screen. Her voiceover is heavy with dread. I'd opened a door I couldn't close. The man I loved wasn't who he said he was, and I was starting to wonder if I ever knew him at all. A bustling Los Angeles cafe where Sarah meets Lila for lunch. The camera captures Sarah's distracted demeanor as she fidgets with her coffee cup. Lila, sensing her friend's unease, leans in. Okay, spill it, Sar. You've been a ghost lately. What's going on with you and Mr. Perfect? Sarah hesitates, then confesses, I found something. On Michael's laptop. Money transfers, weird dates. It doesn't add up. Lila's eyes widen. Like, what, shady business stuff? You think he's cheating? Sarah shakes her head. It's not another woman. It's worse. I don't know what yet. The tension spikes when a stranger interrupts their conversation. The camera pans to a wiry man in his late 30s, with sharp features and a nervous energy. Sarah Thompson, he asks, his voice low. Sarah nods, confused. I'm Ethan. I knew Michael before. He glances around, as if expecting to be watched. We need to talk. Somewhere private. Lila, skeptical, snaps, Who are you, and why should we trust you? Ethan's eyes dart to Sarah. Because I know what Michael's really doing. And you're not safe. At a secluded park bench, Ethan reveals he worked with Michael years ago in logistics, a vague term that sets off alarm bells. He was always good at playing the part, Ethan says, his voice bitter. The charming guy, the big dreamer. But he's not who you think. His business isn't consulting. Sarah presses. What is it, then? Tell me. Ethan hesitates, then leans closer. He moves things. Expensive things. Things people kill for. Sarah's face pales, but before she can ask more, Ethan stands abruptly. Watch your back, Sarah. He doesn't like loose ends. As Ethan walks away, leaving Sarah frozen. Her voiceover whispers, loose ends. Was that what I was becoming to him? Sarah pacing her living room, Ethan's warning echoing in her mind. Her voiceover sets the stakes. I was in too deep now. Every step felt like walking on a tightrope, but I couldn't stop. I needed the truth, no matter how much it hurt. Sarah's days are consumed by paranoia. She notices small things: a car lingering too long outside their house, Michael's increasingly erratic schedule. One evening, as she's sorting through mail, her phone buzzes with an unknown number. She answers, and a distorted voice rasps, "Check your email. You'll want to see this." The call ends abruptly, leaving Sarah's heart pounding. She opens her inbox to find an anonymous message with a single link. The camera zooms in as she clicks it, revealing a grainy news article from a small-town paper in Nevada. The headline reads, "High-value art heist remains unsolved." The article details a theft from a private gallery, with no suspects identified. The date matches one of Michael's business trips. Sarah's breath catches as she reads a description of a suspect: tall, dark-haired, charismatic. It's vague, but it fits Michael too well. She confronts Michael that night, trying to keep her tone casual. "Hey, you were in Nevada last year, right? For work?" Michael, pouring wine, doesn't flinch. "Yeah, some client meeting." "Why?" His nonchalance is unnerving. Sarah presses, "Just saw an article about a robbery there." "Same time you were in town." Michael laughs, but his eyes narrow. "You're playing detective now?" "It was a boring trip, Sarah. Contracts, meetings, you know the drill." His deflection is smooth, but Sarah notices his hand tighten around the wineglass. Lands when Sarah, alone later, cross-references the article's date with a spreadsheet from Chapter 5. Another entry matches a different heist in Miami. Her voiceover is frantic. "This wasn't a coincidence. My husband was a criminal, and someone wanted me to know. But who? And why?" Sarah in her home office, surrounded by printed articles and notes scribbled on a whiteboard. Her voiceover is resolute. "I couldn't unsee it now. The dates, the money, the lies, they all pointed to one thing. Michael was living a double life, and I was caught in the middle." Sarah pieces together the evidence: the spreadsheet's transactions, the heist reports, Ethan's cryptic warnings. She discovers a pattern. Michael's trips align with high-profile thefts across the country, each involving rare art or jewelry. The camera shows her mapping it out, her hands trembling as she connects the dots. A flashback reveals a moment from their honeymoon when Michael admired a painting in a gallery, commenting on its priceless value with an intensity that now feels sinister. Desperate for answers, Sarah reaches out to Ethan again. They meet in a dimly lit diner, the camera capturing the tension in their hushed conversation. "How deep does this go?" Sarah asks, her voice shaking. Ethan leans forward, his eyes haunted. "Michael's not just a thief. He's part of a network. Big players, dangerous people. If you keep digging, you're painting a target on your back." Sarah snaps, "I'm already in this. He's my husband." Ethan's reply is chilling, "Then you're already a liability." Back home, Sarah finds a hidden USB drive in Michael's office, tucked inside a hollowed-out book. She plugs it into her laptop, revealing a folder labeled Assets. Inside are photos of artworks, gemstones, and a ledger of transactions with names she doesn't recognize. One image shows a necklace she saw Michael gift her last Christmas, now linked to a stolen collection. Her voiceover confesses, "This wasn't just his secret. It was our life. Everything I thought we had was built on lies." Sarah uncovers a surveillance photo on the USB, a blurry shot of Michael in a dark alley, handing a package to a shadowy figure. Her voiceover trembles. "This was it. Proof my husband wasn't just a thief. He was something far worse. And I was running out of time to stop him." Sarah staring at the surveillance photo, her face a mix of betrayal and fury. Her voiceover is raw. "I couldn't hide from it anymore. I had to face him, to see if the man I loved was gone for good." Sarah waits for Michael to return home, the USB drive burning a hole in her pocket. The camera captures the oppressive silence of their house, the ticking clock amplifying the tension. When Michael walks in, he's all smiles, carrying takeout. "Hey babe, thought we'd have a quiet night," he says, oblivious to the storm brewing. Sarah doesn't waste time. She slams the USB drive on the counter. "What is this, Michael? Stolen art? Secret deals? Who are you?" Michael's face freezes, his charm evaporating. "Where did you get that?" he demands, his voice low. Sarah stands her ground. "I know about the heists. The money. The lies. Tell me the truth, or I'm done. Michael tries to deflect, his tone softening. Sarah, you're blowing this out of proportion. It's just business, complicated stuff you wouldn't understand. But Sarah's not buying it. Don't gaslight me. I have proof. You're a criminal. The confrontation escalates as Michael's facade crumbles. His voice turns cold. You think you can just walk away from this? You have no idea what you're messing with. Sarah's eyes widen, fear creeping in. Are you threatening me? She whispers. Michael steps closer, his expression unreadable. I'm protecting you. Stay out of it, Sarah, or you'll regret it. As Michael storms out, leaving Sarah trembling. Her voiceover is haunting. That wasn't my husband. That was a stranger. And for the first time, I was truly afraid of what he'd do to keep his secret safe. Sarah alone in their darkened house, the confrontation replaying in her mind. Her voiceover is urgent. I'd crossed a line, and there was no going back. Michael wasn't just hiding secrets, he was dangerous. I had to get out before it was too late. Sarah moves quickly, packing a small bag with essentials, clothes, cash, her laptop. The camera follows her frantic movements, the silence of the house broken only by her ragged breathing. She hesitates at a photo of their wedding day, her fingers brushing Michael's smiling face before she tosses it aside. Every creak of the floorboards makes her jump, as if Michael could return any moment. As she grabs her car keys, her phone buzzes with a text from Michael. We need to talk. Don't do anything stupid. The message sends a chill down her spine. She deletes it and heads for the door, but the sound of a car engine stops her cold. Headlights flash through the window. Michael's back. The camera captures her panic as she ducks into the garage, hiding behind a stack of boxes. Michael enters the house, calling her name, his voice eerily calm. Sarah. Come on, let's work this out. Sarah's heart races as she slips out a side door, sprinting to her car parked down the street. Her in a heart-pounding sequence, her breath visible in the cool night air. She drives off just as Michael steps onto the porch, his silhouette menacing in the darkness. Sarah, gripping the steering wheel, glances in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see Michael's car in pursuit. Her voiceover is resolute yet terrified. I was running from the man I loved, from the life I thought we had. But where do you go when the truth is chasing you? Sarah driving through the night, the city lights of Los Angeles fading into the distance. Her face is pale, her eyes darting to the rearview mirror, expecting Michael's car to appear at any moment. Her voiceover sets the tone. I wasn't just running from Michael. I was running from everything I thought I knew. My life, my love, my future. It was all a lie, and I had nowhere to go. Sarah pulls into a rundown motel on the outskirts of the city, paying cash to avoid leaving a digital trail. The camera captures the grimy room, peeling wallpaper, a flickering neon sign outside, as she collapses onto the bed, clutching her bag. She checks her phone, finding a barrage of missed calls and texts from Michael. Where are you? We can fix this. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Each message tightens the knot in her stomach. Desperate, Sarah tries to access her bank account online, only to find it frozen. The screen flashes an error, account restricted. Her voiceover is panicked. He'd cut me off. No money, no home, no one to trust. I was alone, and he knew it. She scrolls through her contacts, hesitating over Lila's name, but decides against calling, fearing Michael might be watching her friends. Sarah's isolation is palpable as she paces the room, replaying Ethan's warning about Michael's dangerous network. She pulls out the USB drive from Chapter 8, staring at it like it's a ticking bomb. The camera zooms in as she plugs it into her laptop, reviewing the photos of stolen art and the ledger of transactions. One name stands out, V. Kessler. It's unfamiliar, but it feels like a lifeline. When Sarah hears a car pull into the motel parking lot, she peers through the blinds, her heart racing, and sees a black SUV idling under a streetlight. The driver's face is obscured, but the vehicle matches one she saw outside their house days ago. Her voiceover whispers, he was closing in. I had to move, but I was running out of places to hide. Sarah slipping out of the motel at dawn, her hoodie pulled low to avoid recognition. Her voiceover is weary but determined. I couldn't keep running blind. I needed help, someone who knew Michael's world. But trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. Sarah decides to contact Ethan, the mysterious friend from Chapter 6. She finds a burner phone at a gas station and dials his number, her hands shaking. When he answers, his tone is cautious. "Sarah, where are you? This isn't safe." She cuts him off. "I'm out of options, Ethan. Michael's after me, and I have proof he's a criminal. Help me, or I'm done." There's a long pause before Ethan agrees to meet her at a crowded bus station. At the station, the camera captures the chaos, people rushing, announcements blaring, as Sarah spots Ethan near a ticket counter. He's jittery, scanning the crowd. "You shouldn't be here," he says, pulling her into a corner. "Michael's people are everywhere." Sarah shows him the USB drive. "This has everything: names, dates, stolen goods. I need to know what I'm up against." Ethan's eyes widen as he scrolls through the files. "This is bigger than I thought," he mutters. "V. Kessler? That's Victor Kessler, a fence for black market art. Michael's not just a thief, he's tied to some bad people." Ethan reluctantly agrees to help, revealing he left Michael's crew years ago after a deal went south. "I got out because I saw what happens to people who cross him," he says. "You're in deep, Sarah." Kessler's crew doesn't mess around. Their conversation is cut short when Sarah notices a man in a leather jacket watching them from across the station. Ethan grabs her arm. "We need to go. Now." As they slip into the crowd, the man in the leather jacket following at a distance. Sarah's voiceover is urgent. "Ethan was my only shot at answers, but trusting him might have just made me a bigger target." A dingy safe house, a cramped apartment Ethan secured on the edge of town. Sarah and Ethan huddle over her laptop, the USB drive's contents spread across the screen. Her voiceover is resolute. "I was done running. If Michael was going down, I was going to make sure he didn't take me with him." Sarah and Ethan dive into the evidence, cross-referencing the ledger's transactions with news reports of art thefts. The camera shows a montage of their work, maps pinned with locations, articles about stolen paintings, and cryptic emails from Michael's account. Ethan explains Kessler's operation, a network of thieves and fences moving high-value items across borders. "Michael's their frontman," Ethan says. "The charming face who closes deals. But Kessler's the one calling the shots." Sarah uncovers a new lead, a transaction dated for 2 weeks from now, labeled Final Score. It involves a rare sculpture valued at $10 million, set to be moved through a private auction in San Francisco. "This is it," Sarah says, her voice steady. "If we can catch him in the act, we can end this." Ethan's skeptical. "You're talking about walking into a lion's den. Kessler's people will be armed, and Michael knows you're onto him." Their planning is interrupted by a tense moment when Sarah's burner phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number: "Stop digging, or you'll be next." The camera zooms in on her pale face as she shows Ethan. "He's watching us," she whispers. Ethan's jaw tightens. Or someone in his crew is. "We need to move fast." As Ethan reveals a contact, a retired detective named Carla who once investigated Kessler's network. "She's our best shot at building a real case," he says. "But meeting her means risking everything." Sarah nods, her resolute. "I didn't have a choice. This was my fight now, and I was going to finish it." Sarah and Ethan driving to meet Carla at a remote diner outside the city. The tension in the car, Sarah's hands gripping the wheel as Ethan scans the road for tails. Her voiceover is fraught. "Every move felt like a gamble. Michael was out there, and he wasn't going to let me go without a fight." At the diner, Carla, a grizzled woman in her 50s with sharp eyes, listens as Sarah explains the evidence. "You've got guts, kid," Carla says, flipping through the USB's files. "But this is bigger than you realize. Kessler's network has people in high places. You're not just taking on Michael, you're taking on a machine." She agrees to help, but warns, "One wrong move, and you're done." The tension spikes when Sarah notices the same black SUV from the motel parked across the street. "Ethan," she whispers, nudging him. He curses under his breath. "We've been followed." Carla, calm but firm, instructs them to leave through the back. The camera follows their frantic exit, weaving through the diner's kitchen as the man in the leather jacket from Chapter 12 enters the front. A heart-pounding chase ensues as Sarah and Ethan sprint to their car, the SUV roaring after them. The camera captures the high-speed pursuit through winding roads, Sarah's knuckles white on the steering wheel. Ethan shouts directions, but the SUV gains ground. Just when it seems they're cornered, Sarah swerves into a narrow alley, losing their pursuer in a maze of side streets. They pull over, breathless, in an abandoned lot. Ethan turns to Sarah. "That was too close. Michael's using everything he's got to find you." Sarah's eyes harden. "Then we use what we've got to stop him." The cliffhanger lands as her voiceover reveals a chilling realization. He wasn't just hunting me. He was using our life together, every secret I shared, every weakness, to track me down. Sarah, Ethan, and Carla in the safe house, maps and notes scattered across a table. Sarah's voiceover is fierce. "I was tired of being the prey. If Michael wanted a fight, I was going to give him one, on my terms." The trio devises a plan to catch Michael during the final score auction in San Francisco. Carla explains that the event is a front for Kessler's network to move the stolen sculpture. "If we can get evidence of Michael making the deal, we can bring him down," she says. Sarah proposes a risky idea, posing as a buyer to get close to the auction. Ethan protests, "You're putting yourself right in his crosshairs." Sarah snaps back, "I'm already there. This is my chance to end it." They spend days preparing. Sarah memorizes the auction's layout, while Carla secures fake credentials for her as a wealthy art collector. Ethan trains her to spot Kessler's enforcers. The camera shows a montage of their work, interspersed with Sarah's voiceover. Every step felt like walking toward a cliff. "But I wasn't backing down." The night before the auction, Sarah and Ethan share a quiet moment. "Why are you doing this?" she asks him. "You could walk away." Ethan looks away, his voice low. "I owe it to someone I couldn't save. Michael's hurt enough people." The vulnerability humanizes him, strengthening their bond. As Sarah prepares to leave for the auction, dressed in an elegant disguise, Carla hands her a hidden camera. "Get the footage, get out. No heroics." Sarah nods, but her voiceover reveals her fear. "I was about to walk into Michael's world, to face the man I loved and the monster he'd become. And I wasn't sure I'd come out alive." Sarah stepping into a sleek San Francisco gallery, her elegant disguise, a tailored black dress and subtle makeup, masking her fear. The camera pans across the opulent auction room, filled with wealthy bidders and discreet security. Sarah's voiceover is tense. "This was it. The moment I'd been running toward. One wrong move, and everything I'd fought for would collapse." Sarah, posing as a buyer, blends into the crowd, her hidden camera disguised as a brooch capturing every detail. Ethan and Carla monitor from a van outside, their voices crackling through an earpiece. "Stay sharp," Carla warns. "Kessler's people are watching." The camera lingers on Sarah's nervous glance as she spots Michael across the room, charming a group of bidders. His eyes scan the crowd, and for a heart-stopping moment, they lock with hers. She turns away, her pulse racing, but he doesn't seem to recognize her. The auction begins, and the stolen sculpture, a sleek, abstract piece worth millions, is unveiled. Sarah bids strategically, drawing Michael's attention as a potential buyer. He approaches, his smile disarming. "You have excellent taste," he says, his voice smooth. "First time at one of these." Sarah nods, her voice steady despite her fear. "I know a good investment when I see one." The double meaning hangs in the air, unnoticed by Michael. As the deal nears, Sarah captures footage of Michael negotiating with a man she recognizes from a USB drive, Victor Kessler. The camera zooms in on their hushed exchange, Michael handing over a flash drive. But the plan unravels when a security guard notices Sarah's lingering gaze. "Carla, we've got a problem," Ethan hisses through the earpiece. The guard approaches, and Sarah slips into a side room, only to find herself face-to-face with Michael. As Michael's smile fades, recognition dawning. "Sarah," he says, his voice a mix of shock and menace. Her voiceover is frantic. "The trap was set, but I was the one caught. And Michael wasn't going to let me walk away." In the dimly lit side room, Sarah frozen as Michael looms over her. The camera captures the intensity in his eyes, a mix of betrayal and cold calculation. Her voiceover is raw. This was the man I'd loved, the man I'd married. But the person standing in front of me was a stranger, and I was about to see how far he'd go to protect his secrets. Michael grabs her arm, his grip tight. "What the hell are you doing here, Sarah?" he growls. She pulls free, her voice shaking but defiant. "I know everything, Michael. The thefts, Kessler, the lies. It's over." His laugh is chilling. "You think you can take me down? You have no idea who you're dealing with." He steps closer, his tone softening into manipulation. "Come home, Sarah. We can fix this. You don't want to get hurt." Sarah stands her ground, the fire in her eyes. "You're the one who's going to get hurt. I have proof, and it's already out there." Michael's facade cracks, his voice turning venomous. "You're bluffing. You're nothing without me." He reveals a devastating truth. "You think I didn't know you were digging? I let you find that USB. I wanted to see how far you'd go." Sarah's face pales, but she fires back. "Then you underestimated me." The confrontation spirals as security bursts in, alerted by the commotion. Michael spins a lie, claiming Sarah's a disgruntled ex trying to sabotage him. But Carla and Ethan, monitoring the feed, send the footage to local police, who are already en route. Sirens wail in the distance, and Michael's panic is palpable. He lunges for Sarah, but she dodges, sprinting toward the exit. As Michael grabs a concealed weapon from his jacket, his voice desperate, "You're not leaving me, Sarah!" Her voiceover echoes. He'd shown his true face, but the fight wasn't over. "And I wasn't going to let him win." With chaos outside the gallery, flashing police lights, officers swarming, and Michael in handcuffs. Sarah watches from a distance, her face a mix of relief and devastation. Her voiceover is heavy. It was over. Michael was caught, his empire crumbling. But the cost was everything I'd built my life on. The police, tipped off by Carla's evidence, arrest Michael and several of Kessler's men. Sarah hands over the USB drive, its contents sealing their fate. Carla pulls her aside, her tone gruff but kind. "You did good, kid. Not many could have pulled this off." Sarah nods, but her eyes are distant. "It doesn't feel like a win," she says softly. Ethan, standing nearby, adds, "You survived. That's more than most get." Back at the safe house, Sarah faces the fallout. News outlets splash the story across headlines. "Art heist ring busted, local woman's evidence key." Reporters camp outside her old home, forcing her to stay hidden. Lila visits, tearfully embracing her. "Why didn't you tell me?" Lila asks. Sarah's voice cracks. "I didn't want you in danger. I barely got out myself." The camera lingers on their hug, capturing Sarah's fragile strength. As days pass, Sarah grapples with the emotional toll. Flashbacks show happier times with Michael, laughing over coffee, dancing at their wedding, contrasted with the cold reality of his betrayal. She starts therapy, her sessions a raw glimpse into her healing process. "I trusted him," she tells her therapist. "How do I trust myself again?" As Sarah faces a press conference, cameras flashing as she steps to the podium. Her voiceover is resolute. "The world wanted my story, but I wasn't just a victim. I was a survivor, and I had to decide what came next." 6 months later, with Sarah in a small, sunlit apartment, a stark contrast to her old life with Michael. Her voiceover is hopeful yet reflective. "The scars were still there, but I was learning to live with them. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was starting over." Sarah's new life takes shape. She joins a support group for victims of betrayal, her story resonating with others. The camera captures a group session, Sarah sharing, "I thought love was enough. But I learned strength comes from within." The group's nods and shared stories humanize her journey, making it relatable to viewers. She throws herself into her graphic design work, landing a contract with a non-profit advocating for fraud victims. At a team meeting, her boss praises her resilience. "You're an inspiration, Sarah," he says. She smiles, but her eyes betray lingering doubt. Later, she reconnects with Lila, who helps her rediscover joy, simple moments like laughing over pizza or hiking in the hills. Sarah also begins advocating, speaking at a local event about trusting one's instincts. "I ignored the signs," she tells the crowd, her voice steady. Don't make my mistake. Listen to that voice inside you. The camera catches the audience's rapt attention, amplifying the series' emotional impact. Sarah receives a letter from Michael, postmarked from prison. She hesitates, then opens it, finding a single line, "You'll never be free of me." Her face hardens, but her voiceover is defiant. "He thought he could break me, even from behind bars. But I was done letting him control my life." Sarah standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean, the wind tousling her hair. Her voiceover is powerful. "This was my story, messy, painful, and mine. But it's not just about me. It's about what we do with the broken pieces." Sarah reflects on her journey, the camera intercutting moments from her past, her wedding, her escape, the auction, with her present, designing in her cozy apartment, laughing with Lila, speaking at advocacy events. She addresses to directly, breaking the fourth wall. "I learned to trust myself again," she says, her voice steady. "Love can blind you, but it can also teach you. I loved Michael, and that wasn't a mistake. Ignoring my instincts was." She shares lessons for viewers. Betrayal doesn't define you. It's what you do next that matters. Listen to your gut. Ask the hard questions. And never be afraid to walk away. The camera lingers on her face, her strength palpable. Sarah at a community center, mentoring a young woman who escaped a toxic relationship. "You're stronger than you know," Sarah tells her, echoing her own journey. The scene is intimate, hopeful, and deeply human. The final call to action comes as Sarah looks into the camera, her eyes bright. "We all have stories of trust and betrayal. Share yours. Talk about it. Because when we do, we take back the power." The screen fades to black, with text inviting viewers to comment their experiences and engage with the series online. Her voiceover concludes, "This isn't the end. It's the beginning of something new, for me, and maybe for you too." The end.